Hello, everypony. This is Dashy Fan here with a first reading. This is going to be my first reading. I'm doing this as a favor to one of my friends, but just because of the fact that I like good fan fiction and everything like that, I am willing to actually continue to do this. Probably. Let's see here. But yeah, I'm probably going to continue doing this. And yes, I just did say every pony at the beginning. So let's get this going underway. This is Autumn Leaves. It's a fan fiction that is on the adult side. Specifically of the fact of the sexual content that lies within it. So I am going to be age locking this video so that I do not ruin a child's vision of this show. So, you know, if you want to listen to it, I'm not going to stop you. The only way that I'm going to stop you or prevent, or at least assist prevent, is age locking this shit. So, you know, little girls won't watch it and won't flip their shit. So, alright, here it goes. Applejack pushed the last basket of apples into the barn and sighed, finally finished. With a tedious chore, she felt hot, sweaty, and tired, but the glow of a job well done overpowered these feelings. She turned to her friend, who sat polishing the final apple with a flick of magic. "Thanks a million for helping me out, Twilight," Applejack said, wearing a tired smile. The unicorn placed the now unnaturally shiny apple delicately atop the heap. "No problem," she replied, leaning back to admire her work. "Anything for a friend. These apples are looking pretty good, too, if I do say so myself." She grinned with pride, just missing Applejack's eye roll accompanied with a chuckle. "They sure are," she agreed, before adding, "I'm sure they'll please our customers who come round buying apples with a magnifying glass." Twilight accepted the humor and giggled. "Well, it couldn't hurt," she argued good-naturedly. Just as the orange pony sat down adjusting her hat, she was startled by a shout and a crash, knocking her hat clear off her head. Applejack groaned and swooped it back up. "Every apple picking time." Twilight having just left for a moment to catch some air and hadn't noticed. Applejack, however, glared at the cyan, hay-covered speed demon. Is it pronounced cyan or cayenne? I think cayenne is the pepper. I'll just go cyan. It crashed dangerously close to her pristine picked apples. Printine, whatever. The farm pony's breath caught in her throat as she stared at the apples, rocking slightly, threatening to undo hours of work. "Whoa, Applejack, what the hay?" Rainbow said, spitting hay out of her mouth and shaking it out of her hair. "Why are these apples so clean?" She broke into a grin. "Who did you get to help you, Oh, hey, Twilight." The blue filly fell serious as the unicorn strolled back in. "Oh, hi, Rainbow. Did you just drop in to say hello?" Twilight asked courteously. Applejack snorted. "Oh, she dropped in, all right," Applejack stated haughtily. "Almost undid a day's work, too." Rainbow sauntered to where Applejack stood angrily and brushed her under the chin with her multicolored tail. "Don't be so uptight, farm pony," she said in a loose voice with laughter underneath it. Applejack just huffed with her smug blue friend as her smug blue friend trotted off. Blah, 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 blah. Why am I reading it so incorrectly right now? Trotted to the door. Twilight nudged Applejack in the side, causing her to jump slightly. "Relax, Applejack. It's all in good fun," she reasoned, seemingly not minding Rainbow's cavalier behavior. "She's just being Rainbow Dash." Applejack watched as the cyan pony took flight with a snicker and disappeared into the sky. "Huh, the nerve of some ponies." Applejack grunted. Blah, blah, blah. God, why am I so fucking horrible today? Um, let's see. Applejack grumped, tilting her hat back and shaking her head. Still, despite her frustrations with the arrogant weather mare, the orange pony thought the room felt hotter than before. Ooh, we're getting some. We're getting to a crescendo. Um, Rainbow Dash shifted position, folded up her wings, and rested her head on a pillow. Finally comfortable, she closed her eyes, cleared her mind. It was warm, the birds chirped in the distance, and there was a lulling buzz of bees in the air. Rainbow began to feel heavy. The world was on the verge of melting away. Thwack! Crunch! The tree in which the Pegasus napped jerked violently. The motion and the sound of twigs snapped jolted her awake. She stuck her head out between the leaves and looked around, alarmed. Below her was an orange pony bucking away at the tree. The trunk of the tree, which groaned in protest and began to give way. "Applejack!" Rainbow Dash shouted. Applejack paused and looked up at the crazed Pegasus. "Oh, howdy, Rainbow!" she shouted back. "Sorry about waking you from y'all nap." Blah. "Sorry about waking y'all from your nap," she snapped with a grin, which frustrated the Pegasus even more. "Gotta take down this tree before it falls on its own and hurts some pony." Something clicked in Applejack's head. "You were gonna take down this tree knowing I was in it," Applejack chuckled. "This is my farm, Rainbow." She turned around and planted another kick in the trunk. Through her anger, Rainbow felt a rush of heat as she noticed how Applejack's flank moved in the motion. A further rustle jerked her out of her fantasy as she launched herself from its branches. Okay, so we're seeing some noticing of Applejack's ass. That's kind of good to know, I guess. This isn't over, Applejack. With that, the cyan filly took off. Applejack cocked her eyebrows and resumed work. Somewhere in the sky, Rainbow Dash found a cloud much fluffier and softer than a branch, but found as she rested her head, she was having much more difficulty than before falling asleep. When evening fell, so did Applejack. The pooped pony collapsed like a foal in her bed. After such an eventful day, she had no trouble getting to the brink of dreams, only to be yanked out by a persistent noise. It was a rustling, pecking noise coming from the outside window. Applejack tried to dismiss it and surrendered herself to sleep. But eventually the annoying sound got on her last nerve. With a huff she threw her blanket off and clunked to the window, sticking her head out. A bird with beady eyes stared at her from the ledge before grabbing a piece of something with its beak and that was sticking into the side of the house. "What's that you got there, partner?" Applejack whispered to the bird before something on the side of her house caught her eye. "What in tarnation?" Applejack galloped out of the room in a flash, not stopping until she skidded to a halt outside her house, facing the wall. There, clear as day, in towering letters, stood "Applejack sucks apples." Wow, what an insult. Okay. I can understand Applejack sucks eggs, but apples, come on. But it does make sense, though. "That apple-picking, bark-licking numbskull," Applejack cursed into the darkness. Upon closer inspection, the orange filly discovered it was written with smear apples. Her apples. Insult to injury. That was the last straw. It was going down like cider in a press. Rainbow Dash closed her book and looked at it lovingly. "Oh, Daring," she sighed, "why are you so awesome?" The blue Pegasus leaned back and closed her eyes, satisfied with her little prank on Applejack earlier. That was truly her piece de resistance. Her train of thought was interrupted by a pebble soaring through her room and hitting her in the head. Confused, she looked around and saw another pebble fly through the open window of her cloud home and land on her table. What the? Rainbow thrusted her head out the window and saw the orange pony on the ground below her, ready to lob another stone. Applejack, what the buck? It's a pun. Applejack, what the fuck? But buck because they're ponies. That's good. I like that. That's clever, author. That's clever. Applejack wasn't wasting any time with banter. Rainbow Dash, this ends now, she shouted. Get your flank down here. Rainbow Dash smirked and flitted out the door to the ground. I see you found my little message, Applejack. Did you like it? Oh, stow the hooey, you troublemaking Pegasus. We're settling this, Applejack demanded, stomping a hoof for emphasis. Rainbow liked the idea. Oh, yeah? What do you have in mind? Applejack paused. She hadn't quite planned this far, but she sure as hay wasn't gonna let this opportunity pass her by. An idea. Look, with the buck. Filly, please. Let's see here. An idea flashed into her head. The orange pony knew that this was going to be the perfect game chaser. She chuckled, almost diabolically. A race. You and me. Blah. A race. You and me. Down the track for the running of the leaves. Applejack smirked at the blue pony's reaction. Rainbow's shocked expression quickly changed to a grin, and she narrowed her eyes. Now, Applejack was really speaking her language. After this race, in the running of the leaves, Rainbow had been dreaming of a chance to really show up her friend. God damn it. And claim first prize. This was her moment to bring it. Oh, Applejack, you sure you want to go there? Rainbow. Are you sure you want to go there? Rainbow regretted it the moment it came out. What if Applejack wasn't sure? Sure as hay. Rainbow breathed a mental sigh of relief. With a hoof bump, Rainbow and Applejack were eye to eye. All right, you're on. The air was crisp and clear, perfect for running, and the night was bright from the glow of the moon. The two competitors were lined up at the mouth of the forest, fire burning under their hooves. This was going to be the race of a lifetime. Much to Rainbow's dismay, but the satisfaction of the earth pony, the Pegasus had her wings tied flat to her back. No way was honest Applejack gonna let Rainbow indulge in her cheating tactics. Ready? Y'all better believe it, Sugar Cube. Okay, go! Both ponies were off like wildfire, burning through the forest like racers possessed. Their manes and tails trailed behind them as the cool night air whipped their faces. The night was still set alive with the pounding of hooves against earth and the breaths of two ponies lit by a fiery passion. It was sweet insanity. The race went on, and neither filly was tired. The fuel of adrenaline was enough to drive them forward. Applejack's muscles should have been screaming, but the sight of the blue filly next to her, dashing like mad, was a stronger painkiller than any. Rainbow, too, was powered by the sight of the pony next to her. Her hooves were ablaze as she thundered through the forest. It was still tail to tail, neck to neck, nose to nose. After a half hour of running, though it felt like 5 minutes, the two energy-charged competitors, the finish line could be spotted approaching in the distance. The moment of truth was upon them, and knowing this almost set the air around them on fire with white-hot heat of competition. Rainbow gave a snort and pounded forward like thunder and lightning itself, her tail whipping behind her. She was a force of nature in herself. Applejack was nearly directly next to her, each thump of her hoof sending a charge of pure electric power into the ground below her as she charged like a warhorse. Right after the foot of the finish line, both ponies launched themselves into the air. Where the slightest off-balance spring sent them colliding with each other and crashing into the foliage below. There was nothing but a wild tangle of hooves as the frenzied ponies sailed down the hill, hitting tree after tree, still entangled. Finally, their momentum slowed, and Applejack was able to free herself from Rainbow Dash and grab hold of the latter's tail, yanking the tumbling blue mare to a halt alongside her. Great, just great, Rainbow exclaimed into the night. This is so your fault, Applejack. Applejack stared incredulously. Incredulously, yeah, that's how to pronounce. No way, Rainbow, y'all are the klutz that rammed into me. After this, Rainbow Dash flung herself forward so that her nose was almost touching Applejack's, who didn't take a single step back. Instead, she thrusted her head forward as well. The ponies now separated by a couple of millimeters. Rainbow Dash's eyes narrowed in fury as she snarled, "Honest, Applejack? Yeah, right." "Brave words coming from the world's biggest cheaters," Applejack spat. The two ponies stared into each other's eyes with fury as the years of competition, of hot, burning passion exploded into a crescendo like a supernova. Rainbow Dash crashed her lips against Applejack's, who pushed back with equal force, but without a grunt of surprise and pleasure. Rainbow cracked her tail like a whip and pushed hard against the mare in front of her, ramming her into a tree on her back, placing her forehooves on the trunk next to Applejack's head. Rainbow had her caught, unable to move. Applejack was not one to be defeated, and thrusted her tongue into Rainbow's mouth, stroking the inside, which pulled a moan from Rainbow. Rainbow's brain buzzed like a cut wire. Applejack tasted of whiskey, apples, and something smoky, the most arousing combination of scents the Pegasus could imagine. Her blonde mane was musky with sweat, and Rainbow was flooded with the scent of wood, earth, and cinnamon. Seemed she was wrong. There was indeed a more arousing combination. Applejack suddenly gave a push, landing the Pegasus on her back. Rainbow gave a growl, and she made to spring on her feet, but Applejack was standing over her quick as a whip. She felt heat and wetness running down her leg from the intensity of the kiss, and felt Rainbow's wetness pressed against her leg as well. As Applejack moved down to kiss her partner's neck, Rainbow gave a sigh. God damn it. Rainbow gave a sigh of pleasure and bucked her hips instinctively. Applejack took notice and smirked. "Oh, y'all are eager, aren't you, Sugar Cube?" Rainbow just moaned and threw her head back as Applejack's lips once again found their place at her throat. The pleasure was overwhelming. Applejack was no fool. She could see what was happening to her friend, and it aroused her to no end. She felt her clit harden and her sex grow hotter and wetter. The orange filly planned on having some fun with this. She displaced her hoof and brought it to the outside of her partner's sex, which positively quivered in anticipation. In slow, deliberate movements, Applejack began to stroke up and down, in an up and down motion, increasing pressure all the while. Rainbow cried out in a raspy voice. The pleasure was perfect, exquisite. Every time Applejack's expert hoof reached the top of her sex, the swollen bundle of nerves, Rainbow gave a moan and a jerk. She just couldn't help it. The orange mare began to increase her speed, rubbing the Pegasus' most sensitive spot in circles, through her thoroughly coating her hoof in wetness. Rainbow clenched up. "Stop it, Applejack, or you'll make me... Ah! Make me..." Rainbow's mouth fell open as she quickly approached her orgasm. Suddenly, the feeling dwindled. "What the hey?" Rainbow demanded in frustration. Applejack just chuckled. This set off a spark in the denied blue mare. With surprising strength, she flipped the two of them over, so now Rainbow stood on top. She nipped at Applejack's neck. "That," the Rainbow filly spoke in a raspy, sultry voice, "wasn't very nice." Applejack moaned instantly. The entire situation was becoming too much for her to handle. There's a lot of misspellings and shit in this story, but whatever. No complaints. Let's see here. Trying to wet my mouth so I can talk properly. Let's see here. Rainbow slid down Applejack's body, hovering over her wet pulsing sex. Applejack twitched with arousal. Maybe this should help, Rainbow almost whispered. She planted a kiss right atop Applejack's swollen bundle of nerves, causing the mare to cry out and grasp the Rainbow mane. Rainbow knew she hit the spot. She gave another kiss before wrapping her tongue around it and moving it in quick flicks. Oh yes, Rainbow, that's it. That's it right there, Sugar Cube. Applejack choked it out in pleasure. Rainbow groaned and blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. Lost my spot there for a sec. Here we go. Oh yes, Rainbow, that's it right there, Sugar Cube. Applejack choked out in pleasure. Rainbow groaned in pleasure, the vibration sending an additional tingle into her partner. She covered the bulb with her mouth and began to suck. Applejack cried out louder than ever before. She was so close, but did not want this to be over just quite yet. With some miraculous strength she didn't know she had left in her, Applejack rammed Rainbow into a tree and smashed their sexes together right on target, drawing out a simultaneous groan. With measured strokes, the orange filly began to rock her hips. The pleasure was strong and torturous, but not enough to push either of them over the edge. Applejack stepped up her game, thrusting her hips harder, their clits colliding hard with each thrust. Rainbow squealed, her wings completely hardened, stretched out from their sides. Applejack, while thrusting, drew a long lick down one of the bright blue feathers. The response was explosive. Holy Mother of Celestia! Ugh! Keep going, I'm so close. Rainbow moaned in a high-pitched voice, now rocking her hips in time with Applejack. Applejack also let out a grunt, then a squeal. With a final powerful thrust, both ponies exploded into orgasm, liquid fire pounding through their veins as their screams drowned out every other sound. It was perfect. Time froze around them. Every moment of competition, every bit of rivalry and passion came to a standstill. The world just held its breath. Several minutes later, the friends were finally back to their normal states. The night was being whipped away, but as the golden sun rose over the horizon, bathing the forest and the exhausted fillies in its warm glow, Rainbow spoke. Applejack, it's morning. We should probably head back to town, you think? Rainbow groaned. She was comfortable. Yeah, I think we'd better. One last thing. Yeah? The blue Pegasus grinned at her friend-turned-lover. I totally won that race last night. And that's the end. Now, the author of this one, let's see here. Give me a sec here, I'll actually find out the author in just a sec. It's by Twilight Clopple. Very original name. But you know, whatever, author has a pretty good writing style, I like it. Now, for me personally, I'm actually going to try and rate these on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being horrible, 10 being the best it could be, totally perfect, no flaws whatsoever. I'd have to give that one a 7. And that's being generous, due to the fact that 1, it had a lot of misspellings in it, a couple of grammatical errors, and 2, the reason why I rated it so high is because it has my favorite character, Rainbow Dash. If you couldn't tell, Dashy fan. Dashy is another term for a person who likes Rainbow Dash. But, you know, next, I'm gonna, as I stated before, this video is gonna be locked, age restricted, so no person under the age will be able to view this material, at least without cheating. So, alright, everybody, that takes care of that. This was Autumn Leaves, as read by Dashy Fan. The story was by Twilight Clopple. So, I guess it's for the generic outro. Just pony on. Brony on, I mean. Keep cool, keep safe, and brony on.